So, I wanted to talk about why a lot of people's prayers and their hopes are not coming true, why your prayers are not getting answered. There are things that we want, that we feel like we need, that we're in desperation of, and we really want it, right? But we think that prayer is the answer, but it's not, because we're missing like a major component. And so I'm going to start off with a story because I met this young woman, and she is exactly my target. Like, she's a young adult woman. She's working full time. And it's like that stage, we're old enough to make our own decisions, but then we are also faced with like the wisdom and the knowledge of our families and our churches and our communities about what is the right decision to make. And so it keeps us in a bind when we're looking to make lifestyle transitions and live a different type of life. It's like we really want it, but then we know so much has been ingrained in us to live a certain way or to be a certain way, that we're scared to take action, and we're scared to take the risk and actually move forward. And so I met this girl, and I was looking at some stuff at her place of work, and they asked me what I did because I had a great personality. We were just keying. And I'm like, well, I'm a woman's inspirational lifestyle coach. I just help women go after what they want and strategize on how to get it. And so the coworker was like, yes, perfect. See, alignment, perfect timing. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And so me and the young woman got into a conversation, and she was just telling me that, she had experienced some loss recently, like two losses in her life of people that were very close to her. And she hasn't had the time to grieve. She's working a job where she's being micromanaged, and I can see she was experiencing a little bit of depression, right? And so I asked her, like, what are you doing about it? Like, what action in your life are you taking? And she said that, she doesn't have much time on her own. Like, she has 2 days off of work, and she struggles to fit all of her self-care into those 2 days. And she just feels like it's not enough time to care for herself, care for her family, and do things that she's passionate about. And so, the first thing I identified was that she's dedicating 2 days of her entire week to try to fit in things that make her feel good, as opposed to changing the way she lives, like changing her habits, changing the things that she's doing, who she's talking to, where she's spending her time. And I want to say this because a lot of people include their family in their time off. And we have to start prioritizing ourselves over our families too, especially if you don't have any children, right? But if you are, you still have to have those boundaries within your household so that you can have time to yourself to regroup, as a woman, because we process so much. We process so much internally through our subconscious mind, like it's ridiculous. And so you have to have those lifestyle boundaries to be able to take care of yourself. Hey, Perla. So, she went on to just kind of saying that, her manager was micromanaging her. And how many times have we been in a job where, we felt like we weren't getting paid enough to deal with the stress that our bosses put into our lives, right? Giving us tasks that we feel like are irrelevant, or watching our breaks too hard, or demanding that certain work gets done when it is not even necessary, right? And so those things start to chip away at our soul, and we start to feel like, okay, I need to change something, like I'm not happy. And so she's telling her story, and I'm watching her because she's looking me dead in my eyes, but I can tell there was an emptiness there. Like, just because you give someone eye contact and you're speaking to them, it doesn't mean that you are all there mentally. It could mean that you're putting up a blocker, like you're trying to keep it together. And that's what I felt from her. I didn't feel like she was being completely vulnerable, even though she was telling me her story. And so that was something else that I noticed. And so when I got to speak to her, I asked her, I said, what is it that you really want? And she said that, she wanted to leave. She said that she wanted to leave her job, and she said that she wanted to move. I did some prying, and she said she actually wanted to move, which I am a total fan of moving to a new city and starting over. Okay, I did it twice. I love it. I just love that actually 3 times. I love that, you're in a position to actually create a new version of yourself. No one knows you. You can be whoever you want to be, and do what you want to do, like start this new life over. And so the goal here now is to figure out, how does she get from where she is today, use the resources that she has, and get to where she wants to go. But the reason why I named this, Your Prayers Are Not Working, is because I can tell that she wanted to make change, but she was so in her head about things. And as a woman, like, that's one of the main things that will hold you back from actually realizing the things that you want. I'm reading this book right now called Conversations with God, and it's so good. And it really talks about fear and love kind of being a foundational thoughts for anything that we think about, right? Everything kind of drills down to either fear or love. You're either doing something out of fear. Maybe in her instance, she's fearful that, I don't know what it could be if she's leaving town, but maybe she's fearful that she might not make it in her new town. Maybe she's fearful that, I don't really know what's holding her in fear, because her circumstances doesn't really say anything about needing to be fearful. Or maybe she just doesn't know how to start, right, on her new journey. And so if she was thinking out of love, right, she would really be spending more of her time thinking about the things that she wanted to achieve and how to get them, as opposed to thinking about where she is and what she would lose. So we're always thinking, everything that we think about, everything that we even want, it is from a basis of fear and love. And so this book is so good. It's called Conversations with God. So I suggest you go read it. If you have troubles getting your getting your prayers answered, right? And so I wanted to also talk about how getting more in tune with yourself can help you manifest or create or achieve the things that you want. This is why I will always be a supporter and celebrate people who maintain their health and wellness. Is because when you get into a place where you can be healthy, you can create an opportunity for you to spend that time with yourself that will help you think about things in a new creative way, while you're taking action in your life and actually working on your physical fitness or whatever it is that you're doing in the gym, whether it's yoga. This is a dedicated time for you to get in touch with yourself so that you can tap into your emotions. And so what I believe is that the reason why people's prayers are not getting answered is because they are not, women particularly, or even men, this works for everyone, but it's because we are not tapping into our feelings when we are thinking about the things that we want. We're only thinking in our logical sense, and we're not feeling or desiring the things that we want. This is why Napoleon Hill, in Think and Grow Rich, this is why he talks so much about that burning desire, because in order to launch momentum into the things that we want, we have to have a burning desire. We have to feel. And once we do the work within ourselves and taking that dedicated time within ourselves, we can identify, am I feeling more fear or am I feeling more love? And then if you're feeling fear, you need to figure out what you're fearful of and combat that with something that you can love. For instance, the young lady I was speaking to, she may be fearful that, she won't make it on her, by leaving. Maybe she won't get a new opportunity in the city that she's going to. Instead of thinking about that from a fearful place, think about it from a loving place and think about the possibilities that awaits you. Think about how you're going to start to transition and put your energy there so that you can start to manifest the things that you want exactly. Like, start to plan out the escape, okay? Start to plan out the escape. Start to plan out how you're gonna save or allot your time and money. Think about the process that it's gonna take, like how long, how much, when, where am I going, how am I going to get there, and once I get there, what is the game plan? Like start looking for work now in that city so that it can help to propel your dreams and the things that you really desire. So we have to remember, if we're praying for something and we're praying out of fear, that means that we're saying that we don't have it. We are lacking. We're praying out of fear because it's not here and we don't think that we're going to get it, as opposed to putting our emotions and desires in the things that we actually want to achieve, and the creation overflowing with the thoughts and just the desires because your feelings are now attached to it. That is how you should be asking for things. That is how you should be asking for things. It should always be out of love. It should always be out of the goodness, right? If you say you're praying to God, God is all things good. So you can't come to God with a negative energy wanting the same thing in return. It's kind of like a boomerang. Like if you're sending out the fear, the lack, the confusion, the frustration, if you're sending that out, that is what's going to come back. So you have to pray with love and gratitude and openness and expansion and happiness so that you can get those things back. And the way that you identify getting to a place of love and positivity is by spending time with yourself, not just doing things for yourself like getting your hair done or, going out or, all these things. Spending time with yourself, read, ask yourself questions, journal. This is why therapists, right? We go to therapists for answers as well. This is why therapists always ask you those why questions, right? It's because they're getting to the deepest part of that foundation. Is it fear or is it love? Usually it's fear, because that's why you're seeking answers. You won't seek answers if you're doing everything out of love and out of passion and out of joy and excitement, right? Because you are content. But when you fear something, therapist has to do a deep dive as to why, have to keep going back to figure out what is it that you truly fear. And that's when they can help you make the transition. But you can do this with yourself. You can do that with yourself. Whether it's a therapist you're looking for answers, whether it's your religion you're looking for answers, you can do this work yourself by spending time with yourself, loving yourself, speaking to yourself, understanding yourself, instead of doing external things, self-care. And I'm going to phrase my girlfriend Delacoism. She says it's not self-care you need soul care. You need to pamper the inner parts of you. And that's what we need to do if we want our prayers answered. Okay. I love the topic of starting over again. I love the idea of creating something new because we have the ability to do it. If only we are disciplined enough or knowledgeable enough, or we care enough about our goals, or we care enough about the way that we feel to actually take action and set some boundaries, start to create a lifestyle that gives you that time to yourself so that you can seek within yourself and start to find the answers. Okay. And I always keep a foundation of health and wellness in my life for this purpose. Yes, working out makes me feel good. It makes me look good. Okay. It keeps this body snatched. But at the end of the day, it also gives me an opportunity to sit with myself, to achieve something for myself, to make myself feel good. It gives me an opportunity to really talk to myself and hear myself at the same time. And that is what we have to start to do if we want something and we are praying for it. You have to get some feelings behind it so that you can actually communicate with God, so you can actually communicate with the source, because you throwing negative things. And let me say this as well. You might be throwing prayers at God, right? Throwing prayers, pew, 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 right? But I think I lost my train of thought. You're throwing all these prayers at God, but you're receiving what you're asking for. I lost my train of thought, y'all. I just can't. To me, my mind is like a universe, and so when thoughts, sometimes I get like like a flying flying star just goes by, and it'd be a wrap after that. But point of the story is, if you want your if you want your prayers answered, if you want the things to actualize in your life, you have to put your feelings and your thoughts behind it. You can't be praying, oh, this is what I was going to say. You can't be praying, saying these things to God, but inside you don't feel it, because it's negating itself. You can't lie to yourself. You can't lie to the Creator, right? You're negating yourself when you're asking for things. So it's really important that you put yourself in a space where you can get to that emotional comfort, and then you pray. And then you give gratitude, because you're already in a space to receive. You're open, you're expanding. When you're fearful, you're closed, you're scared, it's tight, it's low, it's dark. But when you approach the things that you want with love and grace and excitement and energy and passion, right? You get those things because you are opening. You are opening yourself. You are opening the space to receive these things, and you will get it. So I hope I didn't go too far on a rant, and I hope that you got my point. I hope that this makes sense to you. And if you're praying for something, that you start to really identify how you can put your feelings and emotions behind it so that you can get what you want. Okay? See you next time.